just mic'd up with Mikie Mahtook. Got the boys in. I got Lloyd. We got J-Mitch. We got Jackie Boyd.
He tried to jump up, and he might have knocked it in.
Good timing. Let's go. What a start to the Monday. I mean, I'm from Lafayette. My boys will come in and say,
oh, God. So me and Joe on the ground. I got Joe in the headlock. And he's sitting there. He's punching me in the stomach. Like, punching me.
Here, is everyone sitting around? Who here thinks Chico can practice today after having 5 full beers? And he goes, Chad Jones, right? Chad's doing the team 6 minutes. For 7 minutes, right? Chad's like, no, man, I don't think Chico can practice today. And I was like, I look back, I'm like, Jesus Christ. I saw you there. You were more fucked up than me.
On the spirit plane had some issues, I think. She was sleep farting.
you heard her or you just thought it was her?
I sat right next to her. I smelled.
Whoa. What was that?
Time for the show.
Now, when you do go to spring training, are you going to bring your chinchilla and your turtle?
My dad tell you about it?
The SEC is, God, they hate fat people. I mean, I get crushed for that. You know what I mean? It's like, come on, man.
Hey, just the South, bro. You got a bunch of food down here. Like they should.
Players. Look at Lloyd.
You know what, Lloyd?
You're looking for a recruiting coordinator, coach. I'm here.
He's like, I'll piss my pants right now.
No way.
We're wearing gray pants, long gray pants. He goes, I'll piss my pants right now. Is Wednesday, October 9th. It is LSU Ole Miss week. It is Wednesday of LSU Ole Miss week. We have a lot of conversation.
Magnolia Bowl.
The Magnolia Bowl. There's all kinds of different bowls. I think there actually is a Magnolia Bowl. Like, isn't there a Magnolia Bowl?
That's LSU Ole Miss.
No, I know, but like in real, like in the bowl season, maybe not.
No.
I think I just made it up. There's so many made up bowl names. The Cheez-Its Bowl, the
Chiba Hut Bowl.
The Barstool Sports
Cup Bowl,
whatever bowl, a lot of bowls.
The Chipotle Chicken Bowl.
This is the Magnolia
Meineke Car Care Bowl.
You got a lot of them.
The Toilet Bowl.
This is the Magnolia Bowl. This is the only. I guess there's no. I guess trophy. Is there a trophy to this?
Yeah, it's a Magnolia Bowl.
I know, but I don't know if they had a trophy. They just called
a little piece of wood with some magnolias.
Okay,
and a
you
little bowl.
get something. Big matchup. I don't think anybody cares
Rivalry
about.
game.
I don't think anybody cares about necessarily the Magnolia Bowl or not. I think they care about Ole Miss is ranked in the top 10. LSU is ranked 13th. Huge implications this weekend as far as playoff positioning goes. Keeping LSU in line to make the playoffs. Obviously, if they win, same with Ole Miss. Ole Miss has one SEC loss already. LSU technically does not. So they have one loss on the season against USC. A loss this week does not necessarily knock them out of contention of maybe winning the SEC or getting the SEC championship game. You don't want to lose it, though. We have been talking a little bit, a bit actually, off the air about what we expect to see through this weekend in this game. We talked a little bit about it on Monday.
Yeah, it could happen anywhere.
Yeah, anywhere. You never know. Lloyd's mad. Lloyd's upset because I called Lloyd earlier. And I was trying to ask him to see if he was at the gas station because it was, a little later than he probably should have been.
I get here at 5:15 every time.
And no, but it was 5. It was 5. It was 5.
I was
and
it
started to creep back.
Good. That's why
it's
I was
starting to creep back. Nope, don't love that. And so Lloyd, I called Lloyd to see if he's there. He's not there. He said he's getting in the car. So I think he hangs up. So I told Jared, hey, you'll never guess where Lloyd is.
At home.
He's leaving the house. Just leaving the house. He says, what's he doing? How come he can't? It's not like you were trying to work. We're just hanging out, talking about the show.
I love
Didn't
being
say
here.
anything bad.
No.
And we hung up. And then Lloyd thinks we're talking shit about him. But we're not. We didn't say
I was
anything
like,
behind his back that we wouldn't say to his face.
I couldn't wait to fire off that text like, oh, they're both in there. They're going to see it too and be like,
I actually was in the gas station. when
I
he texted
literally
me.
had no clue what you were talking about. I didn't give a
Nope.
shit, though.
But you made it.
Oh, I didn't care.
But you made it, and we're good, and we're all
I can't
friends.
believe y'all believed me.
Nobody's talking shit. No, I didn't believe you.
Yeah.
Nobody's talking shit about anybody.
That bothers me. But I got to get my skin checked.
Yeah, yeah. But we've had a lot of these conversations about LSU and what this game's going to be like, and what we expect to see. I think that we have a pretty good handle on kind of what Ole Miss is and what they're trying to get to. I believe that if you look at the first 4 games of Ole Miss's season, they're world beaters. They're beating the crap out of everybody. They're not giving up any points. Obviously, their schedule wasn't super tough. Then they go out and they play on the road against Kentucky, or at home against Kentucky. And Kentucky is their first real major competition.
Minus 16.5.
It was minus 16.5. I know. No, it was minus 16.
Oh.
The hook wasn't there. If it was the hook was there, I
You
wouldn't have bet
imagine,
it.
yeah,
If the
we're
hook was
taking
there, I
it.
wouldn't have bet it. No way I'm taking it with the hook. But they're minus 16. They at home, and Kentucky takes it to them. Controls the clock, doesn't allow Ole Miss to get in a rhythm, plays really good defense, and upsets Ole Miss. Low-scoring game, beats them by 3 points, and then Ole Miss goes on the road to South Carolina and beats South Carolina 27-3. You look at the score and you're like, oh, they're back, they're moving the ball, doing all this kind of stuff. But there's some caveats to that. South Carolina had 2 really bad decisions early in the game that really put Ole Miss in a position to have short field and put up points. Fake field goal, going for it on 4th down. Those both ended up into touchdowns. Ole Miss goes into half up 24 with 24 points scored. They only scored 3 points in the second half. That is important because of reasons we will discuss as the show goes on. Continuing through the Heineken headlines, it's Wednesday, which means it's Ask Mikey and Mitch. I don't know how much we promoted it, but go ahead, throw some questions in the chat. We'll get to as many as we can get to throughout the course of the show. A lot of sports going on, high-level sports, baseball going on right now. Phillies are fighting for their life at the top of the 6th inning. They're up. They're winning 1-0 against the Mets. This is an elimination game for them.
Frank the Tank.
Yeah, this is not elimination for the Mets. Elimination for the Phillies.
So
So the Mets are trying to get to the ALCS, which I think if you looked at them 3 months ago, you'd be like, no way. The Mets are playing good baseball. They're putting themselves in positions to make it to the ALCS. But this game's going on right now. Philly is up 1-0, runner in scoring position with 1 out. Earlier today, you had Detroit Tigers, which if you looked at the Detroit Tigers a month ago, you'd be like, no way. They're making the playoffs. 6 weeks ago, you'd be like, no shot. They sold. They traded guys away at the deadline. They were 10 games under 500 in the middle of August, and then they go on this crazy winning streak, make it in the wild card, get through the wild card round, and now they're 1 win away from the ALCS, playing against the division champs in the Cleveland Indians, which some people thought the Cleveland Indians were.
Guardians.
Cleveland Guardians, my bad.
Ooh, got 'em.
Oh,
My bad.
no.
Cleveland Guardians.
They coming for you.
I'm sorry.
Boy.
I'm sorry. I misspoke. The Guardians.
You want me to end the stream?
Nope, that's okay. Yeah, we've done that before. The Cleveland Guardians, managed by a friend of mine, Stephen Vogt, great catcher, played for the A's for a long, long time, really good dude.
Meathead.
Great impressions, does really good impressions, really funny guy. But he's got them playing really good baseball. Detroit is 1 win away against a division rival. And then you have San Diego, or some like to call them Slam Diego. That series is electric.
Juiced.
Party
Juice
City.
Diego. that stadium last night looked awesome.
Elite pop.
Awesome, right? Like, it was electric. The whole series has been electric. A lot of rivalry, obviously, a lot of bickering back and forth. And anytime that happens, you know it's going to be entertaining. The fans are going to jump on board. San Diego showed out yesterday. They won. They are one win away from the NLCS as well. So a lot of postseason baseball going on right now. Very fun to watch. Very fun to talk about. So if you've got questions about that, throw them in the chat. If you've got questions about football, throw them in the chat. The Saints are dead. The Saints are dead. Again, they arose and they died, and now they rose again and they died. They're dead again. They're dead.
But now you guess who's walking out the tomb.
But you got a little hole where you can breathe out of, real
Rattler
hot in these
season.
rhinos.
Yes.
And, Spencer Rattler coming to save the day. Now, I feel bad for Spence.
Oh, how well you know him?
Yeah, Spence.
Yeah.
I feel very bad for him because he is playing with a third-string center. He's playing with an offensive line that's kind of beat up right now, a team that's really beat up against Buccaneers team and Todd Bowles that they're not very favorable against rookie quarterbacks. So we shall see. Talented guy. I think everybody's kind of excited after what he did in the preseason football to see what he can do in the NFL. We shall see. Saints not in a good position. Feels like Spencer Rattler is going to get at least one start, probably 2 starts. Doesn't look like Derek Carr is going to be back for a couple weeks.
I believe like 6 weeks.
Did they come out with the timeline? I know they said it was a few weeks, but yeah. I know definitely these next 2 games, it's probably going to reevaluate. I think they have 2 games in 10 days or something, or 9 days. So we shall see, but not
Garrett
great.
Nussmeier's going to look great in the black and gold.
Wow. Well, if Saints keep doing what they're doing, they're going to have a bigger, higher pick than probably they want.
Sanders is going to look great in the black and gold.
You got to get they got to get guys healthy. Get guys healthy back on the field. But anyway, we're not necessarily talking about that, but that is what's going on. Spencer Rattler just got named starter. And the last little tidbit on these Heineken headlines, LSU baseball. They're starting their fall season tomorrow. Is the first scrimmage or the first full practice that they have tomorrow at 4 o'clock. Go check them out. I think I'm going to try to pop in there. I was telling Jared this. I think I'm going to try to pop in there on Friday. Got some people coming in town. We were going to go try to play golf on Friday afternoon, but impossible to get anywhere. U Club President's Cup tournament on Friday. Awful. Can't get in there.
That's where you stop.
BRCC, not a member there. Apparently, every member there is bringing 3 people from Ole Miss there, so that's impossible. And then CCL, also not a member there, and apparently the course is in terrible shape. So we are stuck with, okay, let's go get lunch, have some drinks, drink a little early on a Friday, and then we're going to go out and maybe poke into the game. I am such a puppy dog, dude.
Dude.
I am.
We tried to tell you.
I am a puppy dog.
It's kind of embarrassing.
No, I like that he's embraced it, though. It was embarrassing when he didn't like it, but now that he knows.
Hey, look, I've gotten better at when it's bad weather to keep it up.
He speaks it when the weather's great. And then when the weather's not good, he's like,
I'm not a puppy dog.
I'm not a puppy dog.
Yeah, don't bother me that much.
So, no.
I've gotten better at I've gotten better at the lows, and I'll keep the highs.
Highs
are always
still
good.
high.
The highs are always good. You want to keep the highs up. Like, hey, puppy dogs are very excited when the weather gets better. Good. If you bring my dog outside right now, he is fired up. I feel the same way. I'm fired up. The weather is beautiful. I walked out this morning to go work out. I'm like, this is amazing. In the evening, you can kind of sit outside. You're not sweating. The weather this weekend is going to be amazing. So, what a great weekend. Great weekend of college football, too. The slate this weekend is outrageous.
I mean, thankful for the great weather in Louisiana, obviously. Prayers up for
Prayers
everybody
up.
for
No doubt.
Hurricane Milton.
Milton's coming
Imagine
hot.
getting your house wrecked by Milton.
Did you see?
I love Florida. Yeah.
What?
Talking about
What am I talking
the
about?
one-leg man that's
No.
staying?
No.
I mean, what?
No, that's not what I'm
I'll
talking
save
about.
it for later.
Did you see? I've never seen this before in my life. Do you see they're strapping down houses
Oh, I did
in
see that.
in Tampa? Like legit strapping houses down from the front yard over the roof. Smart. I think it's smart.
It break into sections.
Maybe
I
though.
didn't even know you could have a strap that was that big. That's
I don't
crazy to
either.
me.
Florida's innovative.
Wow. Maybe they're onto something.
Or not. We'll find out.
And if they are, maybe someone creates it. Like, hey, let's create a patent on a bigger thing. Hey, if you want to strap your house down for bad weather,
Flex Seal.
extra layer, Bobby Mays.
Rest in peace.
Strap that
Billy
roof
Mays.
down instead of
Rest in
replacing
peace.
it.
It's not Bobby, right? It's Billy.
Billy. Also dead.
Yeah.
That's gonna really hurt the roofing industry, man. You know?
Hey, looking for a sponsor always.
Always. But yeah, prayers up to them. That hurricane looks like it is. They're calling it like a perfect storm. Very small eye in the middle of it. Strong winds.
Also crow.
Crazy. Because usually when hurricanes arrive onto shore or are about to be on shore, they strengthen. I'm sure somebody in the chat's a lot more educated in the weather than I am. Usually the hurricanes strengthen as they are about to run into shore. This hurricane was a Category 5, and it's supposed to hit as a Category 3, so it's kind of going down a little bit, which is great, I
And
think.
it powered up.
You know, it got too quick, you know. It got excited too quick in the middle of the ocean, and it's going to hit land
Round 2.
at a Category. This is right after. This is how it happened after Katrina. Katrina hit, big hurricane hit again right after that. So hopefully everybody's okay. Hopefully something happens and it kind of dies down a little bit more than people anticipate. Prayers up to the people out in Tampa and Florida and the surrounding areas. Speaking of Tampa, I think their Bucks flew. They're already in New Orleans.
Mm-hmm. They're
They
practicing
flew
at
up.
Tulane.
Yeah, so I'm sure they're enjoying this weather a lot better than the weather they're about to get over there. But yeah, so that's all we got for the Heineken headlines. Big show for you today, though. We got a lot to talk about, a lot of energy. I'm bringing all the energy today.
Juice Kiffin.
Juice Kiffin, puppy dog.
Puppy dog.
All right, let's get to this. Let's get to this conversation about LSU really quick. So, obviously, Ole Miss brings the challenges that everybody anticipates, right? Let's look a little bit deeper into those challenges, right? Ole Miss, Lane Kiffin, known for having an explosive, powerful offense, fast tempo. Hey, get in rhythm, move. Right, as they still have that in a sense, right? They still want to play fast. They still want to get into their tempo. They still want to dictate the tempo of the game with their offense. With that being said, they have majority of their offense in the passing game goes through one guy. That guy's a little banged up. I'd imagine he's going to play and he's going to be fine. But that one guy is Trey Harris. And Jared has hit Trey's numbers throughout the course of the year. Do you have them pulled up?
Mm-hmm.
Go through his year so far and what you think that, I guess, LSU's strategy should be or can be.
Well, I mean, if you look at them on the year, through those first 4 games that we talked about, the score disparity was 220 to 23, I believe, or to 22. That was the score disparity between the teams that they played. So that tells you right there, like, there wasn't much competition going on. And then they go in and play Kentucky, who's a team that did not play them last year, right? Trey Harris played on that team last year and had a great year, so they never really got to see him last year. So I'm not sure what they really thought about him on film. But the game before, when someone goes usually 11 catches for 225 and 2 touchdowns, you would imagine that that's somebody like, all right, well, we got to figure out what to do against him. It didn't matter. Still against Kentucky, he went for 11 catches for 176. So on the year, he's 8 catches, 9 catches, 10 catches, 11 catches, and finally South Carolina shut him down. But like you said, he didn't play in the second half of that game. But he's been over 100 yards 4 different times, over 200 yards one time on the year. I would imagine a lot of everything that they do has to go through him. Now, 1, how healthy is he? I would imagine he's playing, but how healthy is he?
Right.
2, he's still going to be a huge part of this game plan. I would imagine you would only think that LSU is going to come into this thing and say, hey, that has got to be guy number 1. And it's the perfect time for LSU, too, because they had the bye week to implement a game plan that may be a little different than a lot of the stuff that they've been doing all year. So I got to imagine he's public enemy number 1 for them this week. He is the guy that they are trying to stop this week. And if you can stop him, because they do so much RPO stuff, because they do so much of their game runs through him, he's got 50-plus catches on the season already and almost 900 yards. If you can, I won't say stop him, but if that's someone that you can slow down, if you can slow things down that he does, where do they go next? And that's the big question. And honestly, at this point in the year, I'm not quite sure that they really know the answer to that because of how much they had him, because of how much they used him. And the one half they don't have him, they only put up 3 points.
And that's what I was about to get to, right? You want to talk about the 27 points they scored against South Carolina. South Carolina has a good defense. LSU put up points. LSU probably, yeah. LSU, no good, not barrel control. No barrel control there. Yeah, he didn't have a nice grip on that thing. He was spraying stuff everywhere.
Safety first.
Yeah, not great.
Then teamwork.
Safety was not on.
No.
No. But they have – South Carolina has a really good defense. LSU put up points against South Carolina. You look at Ole Miss. Ole Miss had 27 points total. 3 points in the second half, and that's when your number one guy on the offense goes down. Now, you don't really know who's going to step up until you need someone to step up, right? Well, nobody really stepped up at the second half
But
last week.
it tells you a lot about the game plan too, right? Like he goes down, who's stepping up into these spots? Who knows these positions? Who else can we put into these plays and let them run it? And it's pretty obvious the answer was they hadn't really planned for that yet. So they get a week to do it. Obviously, we expect him to be back. I would imagine they also got somebody else who's rotating in and getting some of these reps as well, just in case he's not able to go or something else is going on. But if you can slow him down, I got to imagine you're really putting that offense in the mud a little bit, and that's what I'm looking for LSU to do, however they choose to do it. I would hope that you're trying to double and bracket and find ways to make life hard on him, that you got somebody in his face, that you're not giving him free access releases a lot. If you do that, it's going to be tougher for him.
100%, right? And I think that, they have Dexter McCluster Jr., as we call him.
Jr., yeah.
That's not his name.
Henry Parrish Jr.
Henry Parrish Jr.
Yep.
is his real name. We call him
Christian
that.
name.
We call him that because he reminds us of the way Dexter McCluster played. If you don't remember that name, he was a running back at Ole Miss, running back / wide receiver at Ole Miss, and Parrish plays kind of the same way, right? And they're going to try to run the football. The running of the football for them hasn't been as explosive and as consistent as they probably would want. And so they're going to try to do it. They run the RPOs. They're going to have some quarterback runs. And so it's paramount for LSU's defense to stay disciplined in what their responsibilities are on defense. Because if you don't and you crash in or you do something, Jackson Dart's gonna pull it and take it around the edge for a big gain, or Parrish he's gonna hand it to him and you're gonna go the wrong gap and he's gonna take it right to the middle for a big gain. So offenses like that's very important that you stay sound in your responsibilities. And so it's gonna be the biggest challenge LSU's had defensively without Harold Perkins, right? This is the second game without him. The first one was obviously South Alabama, and they played well against South Alabama. This is obviously a bigger challenge. So, it's gonna be a great game. I think it's important LSU starts off fast. I don't think you can get down 14 points, and sure you can come back, but you get down 14 points, you're allowing them to create the tempo that they want and move the ball around the field and put your defense in a very vulnerable position.
That's where I think that South Carolina missed the boat. Like, they were so afraid of getting behind Ole Miss that they gave them opportunities that they probably didn't need to create. Like, Kentucky kind of showed you a little bit of the blueprint. We talked about this on Monday, but it was a little bit of if you play keep away and kind of trust yourself a little bit. It felt like South Carolina didn't feel like they could play with them. So any opportunity that they needed to create, an opportunity to score or create points or keep the ball away, they kind of went 12 out of 10 instead of just playing your own game, where I don't think you need to fake punts and go for it on fourth down. That's where I'm interested to see how Brian Kelly's coached this way since he's been at LSU, where he is aggressive. And so interesting to see what they do with the kickoff, if they take the ball, and then if on that first drive he did against USC where he went for it twice.
I think the bye week came at a good time, too, for LSU. Caden Durham kind of got banged up. C.J. Daniels was banged up. Zy Alexander has gotten back in there, got a little banged up. They're all three back this week practicing. On the other side, Ole Miss, this is their 7th straight game of the year. Right? The schedulers didn't do them a lot of favors as far as studying bye weeks. Now, they haven't had a ton of...
I think they played like 2 games in the city, essentially.
Right. They didn't have a ton of tough competition.
They were out
at
half.
I said them boys ain't played half the year anyway.
Right.
Yeah.
But they're still out there playing. Like you still have the opportunity or the potential of maybe getting hurt.
220 to 22.
These last two
back in them turfs.
These last two have been tough.
That's where they've gotten banged
way
up.
Way more physical. That's where they've gotten banged up. And so now they come into LSU, back-to-back road games. I I think LSU's kind of got the advantage there. Are there any other matchups that y'all like or want to see or interested, or any storylines in the game that y'all are interested in?
The old trenches storyline, but the LSU offensive line to that defensive line, their transfer,
Walter Nolan?
from the other guy from Florida, the Russian.
Oh, we just talked about how we were just gonna say the transfer from Florida.
What's his name? I forget his.
Why are you
last name.
doing this to me?
No, I'm not. Just forget his name.
I told you it's
anyway,
a weird name.
Well, anyway,
Umama.
my point is I think he's out this game, which is a big loss for them.
Yep.
But this is supposed to be one of the best defensive fronts in the country for sure in the SEC. So I do think this is a huge test for LSU's offensive line in the sense of, can you open some holes? Can you hold some time? Can you kind of control the front? Can you kind of control the game up front to be able to do the things you want to be able to do on offense? I think this is a huge test for him, because if you're not and you allow that offense that runs and likes to go fast and plays the game they play, you're going to make it real tough on this defensive for LSU. If you can't sustain drives, if you can't move the ball because of the pace that they like to play with on the other side.
And so I think the challenge for LSU's offense is Ole Miss. Their defensive front, as you mentioned, is their strength on their defense, and in particular interior on the interior defensive line, right? They're really good at – they have the most sacks in the country, so they're really good at getting after the quarterback, and they're really good at stopping the run, okay? And I think both of those things coincide, right? If you're really good at stopping the run and they can't get any push on the offensive line to get the run game going, that means there's more dropbacks that are happening with the quarterback, which means it gives them more opportunities to get after the quarterback, right? LSU's passing game has been electric, and has been very consistent throughout the course of the year. The running game has started to progress. I think that's a big key, right? If the offensive line can get a push and they can continue to grind out yards in the running game, and they're able to have a little bit more balance that way, similar to what they've had over the last game and a half since Caden Durham has kind of burst onto the scene, I think that kind of holds back the defensive line just enough to be able to keep everything in rhythm.
Will this be Nuss's like true coming out party?
And that's
the question.
This is the biggest, this is the toughest game that they've probably.
Will this be the one where people are like, oh, wait a second, I think they have another one at quarterback? Because I think he's flown like under the national radar in terms of what people think about him. And look, I get it. When you have a quarterback who's been here the last 2 years, who's taken 99% of the snaps, and he's a Heisman Trophy winner, and he's gone, and the guy that's been here for 3 years under him has not really played, I can see where the national media just would assume that he's not that great.
The easy take is it's going to be a step back.
Would assume that it's a big step back. Would assume that there's no way that there's somebody that good sitting behind someone for that long.
Right.
But maybe there is. Will this be the game where he kind of like, hey, welcome party,
Right.
I'm here. We didn't take a step back. We still are that good on offense. Will that be this type of game for him?
Yeah, I hope so. Right. I mean, I think he's shown that he has the capability and the ability to do that. Right. And I think we talk about LSU's offensive line stopping their defensive line, right? And if you flip it, their offensive line, their left tackle, their starting left tackle is going to be out, right? LSU's defensive line has gotten after the quarterback pretty regularly this year too, right? They had a lot of pressures, they've had a lot of sacks, and so I think with their left tackle out, I think that gives LSU an advantage, and it gives LSU an opportunity, Braden Swinson and those guys, to be able to get after Jackson Dart, kind of make him feel uncomfortable, because Jackson Dart has proven that if you make him feel uncomfy, and he's going to force something down there and he's going to throw the ball away. That has been the MO of a lot of Lane Kiffin's quarterbacks.
It's been such a nice little surprise this year, seeing the quality and the level that defensive front is played at. And it's been kind of what we thought. We didn't really think that for sure we'd have just the front end, like top of the line type of rusher. And some guys have kind of emerged, but they've been able to kind of rotate guys in and out of there and use different guys. But you've seen guys get to the quarterback. You've seen guys get and put pressure on that side of the ball. And we weren't exactly sure that we'd get that. We were like, I know they got some guys who they feel like could, hold the point, maybe do some good things for them, but they've been a nice surprise to that defense. And I think if they can continue to keep going, then you really start seeing that secondary play a lot better too, obviously, because when they play with a whole bunch of confidence up front and they're able to do what they're doing up front, and especially in a game like this on a Saturday night in Tiger Stadium,
right?
The juices will be flowing. So if they can really play well up front, I think it'll bode well for the backside of that defense as well.
If you're
Bases loaded, no outs right now. New York Mets are threatening. Sorry, go ahead.
Frank. Put yourself in the shoes of an Ole Miss fan. How do you think that if this were the injuries that are coming out from Ole Miss, how do you think LSU fans would react if you had your left tackle out, a defensive tackle out, your best wide receiver out? Like I feel like it's kind of being underblown. That's what I'm saying. And I think Lane Kiffin gets credit for that because you don't ever know if you can trust him or not. Like he's playing something into the media where he's been very calculated in doing so. But if you're looking at that and that happened to LSU where you didn't have, I guess you would say Kyron Lacey, you didn't have Will Campbell, and you didn't have insert a defensive lineman. Like LSU's been bitten by the injury bug, but I think going into this game, this is the first time it's happened to Ole Miss to this extent. So I'm wondering if they're probably talking about it a little bit more than what. Oh, nice. The rich get richer.
Mark,
I don't know if I'm going to get it there. Rest assured, Mikey's going to be in the game on Saturday.
No, he won't be in the game. He's in the game.
Yeah, there goes your answer right there. We all knew this was happening.
I still got some work to do, but that's big hurdle.
Big wins.
That's a big hurdle right there. Go ahead. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
Oh no, that's exciting. He's breaking news,
exciting.
some would say. But I was saying, if you were I wonder what the Ole Miss contingency is feeling about this. If they were doing like a practice report or doing a show like we do for LSU, where I wonder how much it's caused for concern on their end, where you start looking at it and go, damn, we're down our probably best offensive playmaker, a defensive lineman that we've relied on, and now you're telling me your left tackle's out.
I got a better question. What do you think is more cause for concern? That they're worried about who's not going to be available in this game, or they're actually worried about the opponent?
Good point.
In this game? That's a better question, because I'm not sure. Like I said, we know what the national media is and how much LSU's not getting that kind of pub and that kind of love. Like, if you really thought LSU was worth the shit this year, even in an off week with four top 11 teams losing, that team would move up. If you actually thought they were worth the shit, they didn't move up at all. They stayed at 13. So I wonder if that Ole Miss contingency, that Ole Miss fan base even thinks that this LSU team is something to worry about. Like, they obviously know Tiger Stadium is, but you think they're actually worried about who they're actually going to face on Saturday night at all?
They should be worried about the 90,000 LED bracelets coming into the stadium. It's the first rave show at LSU. I think they've been tinkering, playing, but now it'll be the legit light show. You might have a couple of, maybe a seizure or two, but worth it.
Well, maybe not. Yeah, maybe.
Epilepsy's real.
I will say this, too. It feels like Ole Miss fans are a little bit like 2 years ago they came in real overconfident, right? Got humbled. Kind of feels like they're coming in there with that little bit of overconfidence again, right? Like LSU has been a little bit overlooked. I don't think anybody is high on LSU, right? Outside of like around here. I think that the Ole Miss fans are kind of feeling like that was a fluke against Kentucky. They figured it out. You saw how good their defense played against South Carolina. Look how many points LSU gave up against South Carolina. Look, yeah, we did give some big plays, no doubt. But
17 ain't a big number.
You're coming to Baton Rouge in Tiger Stadium. Like, that's – I think they may be getting a little bit, too big for their britches.
I think they were at peak Ole Miss fandom when it was 10 out of 10 after they started off the way they did. Kentucky humbled them, and they were ready to jump off the bridge. Then the South Carolina game kind of brought them back to where they feel pretty good about what their team is. Because I think if they had lost to South Carolina also, that was a tough spot for them to play in and win. Because it was like, well, there's the blueprint. Just do exactly what Kentucky did. Y'all play the same way. And after that win, I feel like Ole Miss is kind of back to, okay, if we beat LSU, we're firmly in the playoff race again.
Knowing what the back end of this schedule is, just a question for y'all, what do you think is more important? Actually getting the win in this game or a very stylish loss in this game when it comes to LSU?
Getting the win. I think it's more important.
Wow. I understand the question because
I do too. I do understand the question too, but because I think getting the win brings a little bit more validity to what LSU's trying to do and who they are. Right? I think that they've been overlooked. They haven't really proven anything. You go and you do this. I think that shows some validity. If you go and you have a really good showing and it looks, in my opinion. If you go and it looks good and you lose, it's like, oh, they're almost there, but they're not quite there.
USC game.
Okay,
again.
Well, so then I'll throw this one back at you. I really don't think that matters at all, because if you were to do that and you still ran the table at the end of the year, where are you?
Well, look, I agree with that. I mean, I agree if you win the table, if you lose and you run the table, it's not you're in the SEC championship.
So then you're basically saying you don't think they'll run the table if they lose this game.
I think it's very hard to run the table. Yes.
I mean, you can say it.
Yeah, I don't.
If you don't think they'll run the table if they lose, you can say it.
I mean, I'm not. I don't want to say they're not going to.
Odds are Friday every game or Saturday at the tailgate. They run in the table.
Odds are they're probably not going to run the table.
Right. That's why exactly.
Odds are. Right.
So then
I'm not saying they can't, but just odds are they.
No, because I'm in the same boat. Like, I legit think it is. I even said earlier this year, I don't think this is the most important game, because I still don't. But I damn sure don't think you're running the table if you lose this game.
Right.
So I don't think a super stylish loss is really going to matter, because I do think if you lose this one, there's a very high chance that there's another loss somewhere else down the road. I think it's super important to get this win, because I think this is the kind of win that propels – yes, they believe, dude. Like, I 100% believe that group that's in the locker room believes that they can go out and get the job done. But when you do it against a team like this in a situation like this, it just propels that belief and that work ethic and everything. And it validates everything you've been doing that much more, to where it heightens everything that you do to another level.
Yeah.
And I think if you're able to go and get this win, then you're in a good spot going forward.
Lindor just hit a grand slam.
Ooh, wow.
Wow. Hey, I
is
didn't mean to cut this off. He has hit some big home runs this postseason. And my man,
heart rate's at 0.
My man is jogging like he just hit a BP homer. Mm-hmm. I love that.
Professional.
It's weird too, because
he's one of the greatest guys in baseball.
Hey, he used to give you a little bit, and he's been like very just low key this entire postseason.
Well, I think he kind of. I mean, the Mets hated him for the first 2 years of this contract, and now he's So I'm sure he's like, I don't know, but this is the player that he is. That's why you signed him. He was one of the best players in baseball. Yeah,
he's a dog. He's a dog. What do you think about that, though, Lloyd?
But for my take, I think this kind of stems from the USC conversation, even going back to Garrett Nussmeier. Like, the reason that people haven't really circled him or highlighted him, it's Miller Moss got the shot in that game because who got to win?
Well,
USC.
and apparently the guy who has the mock draft has Miller Moss way above.
That's insane.
Yeah, he has the backup at USC above Nussmeier, too.
Former backup Jackson Dart. But that's where I think like the kind of national conversation about LSU shifted from week one, where it was very exciting and you wanted, like, they wanted to believe in LSU, and it would have gone one of two ways. You lose, and it feels like LSU's very much been out of sight, out of mind. Yeah. Because when you see the games that they played, like, you could pull up the Nichols games, like, that wasn't impressive from a bird's eye view. You look at the South Carolina game, and it's, the refs gave them that game. Like, there's been excuses all along the way to where it's like, I don't think LSU's real. This is an opportunity for LSU to be like, this is going to be a national stage. It's one of the biggest weekends in college football. If you're able to put yourself in that number where it's literally contenders and pretenders, like, you're going to separate yourself from whether it be the Big 10, Big 12, or the SEC, where if you get a win, like, you start looking at this playoff picture a little bit differently.
No doubt. And I think it's huge for playoff implications.
Yeah, because you can't drop another one because, like you were saying,
LSU's in a position.
I mean, you can. I just don't think this is
LSU's in a position, right, to where if they lost this game, they're going to have to run the table, but it's one SEC loss, right? Because they had the out-of-conference loss. Now, it doesn't look as good as it did before because USC has been stinky. But
you got one loss.
You have two losses now. But you have the ability to lose this. Okay, run the table, make it to the SEC. If Ole Miss loses this game, they've eliminated themselves pretty much, right? From the SEC champion. Now they could run the table and be in that large bid potentially with 2 losses, but they've probably eliminated themselves for being in the SEC championship game, which may not be a bad thing for them, as well.
Right. That spot, that actual third SEC team spot, may not be the worst spot to be when it comes down to like years into this thing. You may look at it and be like, hey, if you happen to fall there, that ain't the worst spot to fall. If you know what I'm saying. So. I mean, that is what it's still, to be seen. We don't know anything this first year of the system that it is. But, I think we're all on board in the sense that I don't think I can see this team running the table going forward if you take an L here.
And I think the reason that is because you've seen the SEC kind of cannibalize itself, where Arkansas isn't bad. Texas A&M isn't bad. There's no, like, clear-cut bad team in the SEC where it's like you can look at the calendar and go, that's a win.
Well, and I'll put it to you like this too. You know what's crazy? Let's just say they do drop this game and then you run the table, right? there's still a world where you may be sitting on the outside end of the 12 at the end of it. So let's say you lose this game, you run the table, you got one loss in the SEC, you get into the SEC championship. And let's say you get boat raced. And then now you're sitting there with 3 losses.
Yep.
You didn't win the conference. You could easily find yourself outside of the top 12.
Yeah.
Look what happened to Georgia last year. Like, I know it's a bigger playoff picture, but it's the same.
And they didn't get boat raced. They lost by 3.
Yeah, but
they
the last thing they
That's what
saw,
I'm saying.
they're like, we can't put them in.
But that's what I'm saying. Like,
And they had one loss.
We see this happen all the time. Look at how far. Who just lost 41-10? Missouri. Look at how far Missouri just fell.
They're out.
They're out.
Yeah.
So my point is,
But it's
like,
only one conference loss.
If you're within, you're gonna drop more than 12 spots if you get boat race in the SEC championship.
Yeah.
So with that being said, it's like, you make it really tough on yourself to get where you want to be if you lose this week. It just is what it is.
No doubt. And you said that there's not a team on the schedule that you look at and you say, oh, that's a win, that's a win. True. There's also not a team on the schedule that you look at and you say, oh, we can't win.
Right.
Right? So, like, you can look – that's why you said, back to your question on do you think they can run the table?
That's not what I asked you. You're lying. I said if they lose this one, do
they
think
have
Yeah,
to?
right.
Yeah.
If they lose this one, do you think they can run the table? Do I think they can run the table? I think it's extremely hard. I think that you can look at every game and be like, okay, I can see them winning it, but you can also see them losing it. And so I don't think they run the table.
But that's also today. My point, the reason why I asked the question was because this game is going to tell us a ton about the team. And I do think once this game is said and done, if you were to lose this one, it's really because we're going to learn a lot about who you are and what you have and what you're strong at and what you're not good at. And guess what? So will every other team that plays them. And it's just hard for me to believe that you're going to be able to run the table, especially against an Alabama, an A&M, Oklahoma, and all 3 of those clubs going forward. If
Vandy.
you were to Arkansas on the schedule this year too? Mm-hmm. If you were to lose this game. Like, it's hard for me to believe you run that table after losing this one. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's what I meant. Not so much looking at it today. Yeah, looking at it today, yeah, we all see a way where they can run the table. And I think you probably feel, I think they got a really good shot at doing it. If you were to lose this one, I'm like, yeah, it's tough.
Yeah.
I don't know about that.
Yeah.
I'm looking at, give me 1 second. I was looking at the Fox Sports, which is, maybe a little bit of bias because they cover the Big Ten more than they cover anything else. But I'm looking at how many teams that they have into the college football playoff from the SEC, and it is Texas, Tennessee, Oklahoma, but they have 3 teams in from the SEC, and going just through the bracket, it's Ohio State in the 1 seed, Texas 2 seed, Miami 3 seed. You need them to lose at some point. Iowa State 4 seed because they have to.
Why do you think you need them to lose?
I think just because to help you don't want them to win the ACC because Clemson's also in this picture, so you're getting 2 from the ACC like we talked about on Monday.
I still think that's going to happen, like, no matter what, honestly.
And then you have so Miami and then Iowa State is the 4 seed, Oregon the 5th seed. We'll find out a lot about them this weekend. Then you have Georgia in the 6th seed, Penn State in the 7th seed, Clemson 8, BYU 9, Tennessee 10, Oklahoma 11, and Boise State 12. So that I'm painting this picture because no matter if you drop more than one more game, or I don't think LSU can lose another one
After
and get
the
that.
Ole Miss.
I think if you lose 2, it's no longer guaranteed. The same way that Ole Miss would be if they lose.
No.
Game.
Here's the thing. I don't know how many is going to end up with 2. That's the question. But I do think the SEC is getting 3 in. The highly contested and the highly talked about spot is if they'll get a 4th in. And I don't know what the number of losses is going to be when it comes to whoever that team is. But I do think you don't want to be sitting at that 4th place team in the SEC because I do think you may be the one that might have a better resume than some of these other clubs, but you may be the one that's left out.
And that's why I think this game's important because if LSU does go on primetime television 3 times, and I'm talking about USC loss, you lose to Ole Miss, and you lose to Alabama all at the 6:30, 7 o'clock kick, and that's all the media is going to remember. It's like that's the only time we've seen them play.
Yeah.
And you go 0 for 3 in big-time games. I think that would play just –
That would definitely play huge.
Yeah,
even
if they're all 3 quality, like 3 pretty much quality
just
losses.
Just being 3 losses, period, is going to be huge, but that would also be another added element to it that they were all primetime national television games and you got stomped in them. If that were to happen, yeah, it wouldn't.
You don't even have to get stomped. You just have to, if you compete and lose, I think that would just, what they'll remember is kind of like the USC game. Like nobody talked about LSU after that. And it was a tightly contested ball game where LSU's defense was markedly better.
And it gets talked about even less now because of USC's losses.
And that's
USC has lost to Minnesota and who else?
Michigan.
Michigan. That's
They
right.
should have won the Michigan game.
They should have won the Michigan game.
But
They
Michigan's a
should
quality
have won the
loss.
Minnesota
I mean,
game.
we
Yeah.
can sit here and say LSU should have won the
USC game.
game.
The
So
USC
that
should
doesn't.
have.
You lost
Right.
it. Like that
You
doesn't
lost.
really
Yeah, for
matter,
sure.
you know.
But that's where I think it's interesting when it comes to to these people that vote on this. I don't know. I guess the committee. I doubt they're watching LSU and be like, look at that Southern Alabama win. That's pretty impressive. Like they'd be like, oh
Right.
no, lost at USC, lost against Ole Miss, like out. That's what I think would be because you can't trust these people to
I
make. They're
think
not
you
watching
wanna,
every game.
I think you want to be sitting at worst. Like if you had to paint it in your head to where obviously you want to go 12-0. That's not a. You don't want to be more than 2 losses out in this conference because I think you're going to be sitting on the outside.
Yep,
looking in.
I agree.
Like I really do. I do. If there's a way, because I don't really know the mathematic equation to be able to make this happen. But let's say there's 5 teams sitting with 2 losses, it becomes very highly contested about who
No
is
doubt.
getting in and who's not, and I think that conversation becomes super loud. But you don't want to be that 4th and or worst team sitting in the polls in this thing because I do think you're going to be the ones that's possibly left out.
Yeah.
I think 3 for sure is going to end up making it. I think that 4th, no matter what your schedule is and what you've done, you're going to be the one that they're going to be trying to push on the outside.
And look, I don't want to jump too far ahead because this is a big game. I think we're highlighting how big of a weekend this is, obviously, which I think
Massive.
everybody knows. The schedule is going to get tougher. Texas A&M
Quality.
is doing this, right? So by the time you get through this, you got Arkansas on the road and then Texas A&M on the road. So you're going through the tough part of your schedule. So it's going to be tough, right? But the most important thing
Vandy
is
on the road?
And that's,
Huh?
Vandy on the road?
No, Vandy's at home.
That's another reason why I mentioned it too, because think about it. Like you say you win this game, it gives you momentum to be able to go into maybe a primetime loss at
Yep.
Alabama and be able to bounce back. Maybe play at
Yep.
Texas A&M
Yep.
and bounce back.
Yep.
Maybe play in Oklahoma and lose and bounce back. You lose this one, and I
Yeah.
gotta ask you to go sweep the rest of
doubt.
that.
You have to.
Good luck, dude.
Yeah.
Like that shit's hard to do.
No
And
doubt.
you've already burned your bye card.
Yeah,
Like, this is
that's
your
hard.
bye week card.
Exactly.
No doubt.
That you
That's
see.
hard to do.
Yeah,
And it's
you-
hard. That's why at the beginning of the season, it's hard to say this is the biggest game of the year, but it just felt like this was going to have these implications on it.
And it's exactly what
And
you
it's
wanted
exactly
to be.
what we anticipated, right? Especially because we were talking about if we lose the first game, that's what the feeling is going to be. And unfortunately, we lost the first game again. And so, yeah, that's what it is. Like,
Yeah, you've called it. You've called this one the biggest game of the year all year. I didn't. I still call Alabama because I
Right.
think that's the driver's seat game.
Right.
Right.
I feel like if you get to that game where you want to be, that game is either going to put you in the driver's seat or it's going to put you on the. Oh shit, we got a lot
Right.
more work to do to make sure we just kind of get a chance.
Right.
Right here. I think that's still the biggest
sure.
game of the year. But I'm not saying you're wrong.
Right.
I'm just
No,
saying,
no
like,
doubt.
That's how we looked at it.
I just don't think that
This
if you
game's
lose,
huge.
if you lose this, you ain't winning that one.
This game's huge.
know?
Well, that's what I was saying.
Yeah,
That's why
to your
that's
point.
the question earlier. So I was like, can you lose this one pretty and still think you're in a good spot? I really don't
You
think
gotta,
so.
you gotta win. At some point, a team has got to win some of these big games to feel like they belong in those big games.
And I'll also counter if you lose, it turns into, what was it, 2006 LSU that was playing their best football at the end of the year. They get into an SEC championship,
team.
but you were gassed by the time you got there because you had to do so much to make it up on the back end. You had no bye week, like I understand because of the hurricane, all of that thing. But I'm saying when you put yourself behind the 8 ball like that, and it feels like we made it to the SEC championship, and it's like that's the top of the mountain.
Yeah.
Because it toast.
With you lose a game like this week, when you literally are going to have no wiggle room, that's tough to go play
Yeah.
in Arkansas, to go play in Alabama, to go play in Oklahoma, to go play who else is the other one? The other big in A&M, who I would imagine at that point in all of their seasons, guess how much wiggle room they got? 0. It's gonna be tough,
Yeah.
right? Like that's gonna be tough because there's 2 teams that's gonna be playing in situations where everybody's tight and everybody knows what's at stake, and it's tough to come out on the winning side of all of those situations. That's why I do think this one is you got to find a way to crawl out of here with a win, however you can.
However you can get it,
However you can get it.
right?
And it's so hard because, like we said, it just feels like the way that it's setting up, if there is no Trey Harris, if there is these injuries that Ole Miss has, it's kind of falling in your favor where Ole Miss is rolling in after no bye weeks. They've been playing a little bit of football in this entire time. Like, they almost feel like they need a break. But from going from Kentucky loss to, like, empty the clip against South Carolina, then you roll out there with injuries, and now it's LSU, which is the game that I'm sure that they had highlighted. But at some point, it's a war of attrition. And obviously with LSU, it feels like they're getting healthy because of the bye week. Like, if you were rolling in with Caden Durham hurt and then you had to play the next week, you don't know where you are. You don't know if Alexander's going to be able to play. but you get good information on those two things because they had a week to heal, and we still don't know what Chris Hilton's doing.
Well, he's not gonna play this weekend, that's for sure. But
That allegedly.
But you look at
Breaking news.
Yeah, you look at Vegas. The line hasn't moved.
Right.
So they obviously think Trey Harris is going to play, right?
Or he's not worth any points, which would be shocking.
Or he's not worth any points. I don't believe that's
Or
the
they already
case.
knew he was hurt and wasn't going to play.
Right. More money just keeps pouring in on Ole Miss's side. 85% of the money is on Ole Miss right now, as it stands today.
I wonder if LSU sneaks in the old parlay for the first time this year.
75% of the money.
75% of the bets, 85% of the money pouring in.
And the line's still not moving.
And the line hasn't moved.
How many times has LSU been home underdogs?
Last time? Glad you said that, Lloyd. Last time LSU was a home underdog? Alabama.
Overtime
Won.
win?
Yep. Would love to see one of those.
I like to see it in regulation.
Yeah.
You see that?
Yeah, that's just me.
As long as it has a W after and at the end of it, I'm okay with it.
Absolutely.
Yeah, 85. That kind of blows my mind.
I'm telling you, people haven't watched this LSU team. They're looking at the box score and going, not very good. Because you see UCLA played their best game of the season against LSU. It's unfortunate that it happened, but LSU didn't play bad. And then you have, like, they look at Nichols. They don't know anything about Nichols. They won their conference last year. Like, these are all games that when you look at it, it's not sexy. But LSU won, and they're getting better. But I think if you're on the outside looking in, you're going, Ole Miss, look at all the numbers.
Yeah.
And that's the easy way to do it, but some people don't know ball. It's okay.
Side note, staying on the betting, we're not going to talk all the betting because we're going to have another show at the end of the
Where
week.
we do talk all the betting.
Huh?
Where we do talk
Where
all
we
the
do
betting.
talk all the betting. I found this interesting. What do you think the spread is? Vanderbilt, big emotional win. Go and play Kentucky.
They're at Kentucky?
Yeah. What do you think the spread is on that game?
10.5.
Kentucky? Kentucky favored by 13.5.
Yeah.
Wow.
And as you can imagine,
I still can't touch it though. I don't
as
know.
you can imagine, 88% of the money, 87% of the bets on Vandy. They're riding Diego's train.
No
baby.
wonder Vegas makes so much money, dude. People just remember the last thing they saw, like, Vanderbilt's good.
Yeah.
No way they go to Kentucky and lose by.
Yeah,
Oh,
not 13.5. No way.
You remember Kentucky just belt the ass against Ole Miss?
Yeah.
No, it was 2 weeks ago. I don't even think
Yeah.
about that.
I can guarantee you right now, Kentucky's going through the week, and they're not going in second gear through the practice week right now because they don't want to get embarrassed. So
No.
They don't have
an
many.
interesting one.
Yeah.
That's a sucker bet, right?
It is. That's a
not
stay
good.
away. And I
Not
told you
good.
so.
I got some bets in my head that I think I like for the parlay.
Hey, you're hot.
No. You're
Yeah.
hot. You haven't missed one all year.
I'm talking about volume though.
Yeah.
I mean, you had a great weekend.
I did have a great weekend. But you're undefeated. That's amazing. 6-0.
Sharpen the pencil. Stay sharp.
I love that.
Thank you.
I love that.
No pressure.
Again, people don't realize
I know ball.
that you know ball and that we're 4-2
On a parlay.
on a 3-leg parlay that has plus 600 odds.
That's what I said. So that's 2,400. If you'd bet $1 on all of these, at this point you'd be up $240.
Yep.
For
It's
$1.
pretty good.
Just didn't want it.
$1.
That's for a small investment
That's
of
it.
$1.
Investors, maybe you.
Maybe you, black leather gloves.
Let's get to. Do you have any questions?
We have a couple that are coming in. Fonz just got in. I put the spotlight out. We didn't put it on Twitter, which
We
is
didn't.
something we need to work on.
I know.
But we have 5 questions. Do you want to get them rolling? Like
Yeah.
start a call to action?
Yeah, let's do it.
Because usually when we start them, they kind of
get more
start rolling
comments.
in.
Let's start to ask Mikey Mitch.
It's nice when the Twitter's on there. It's a nice little fallback. But here we are in the live chat. Get your questions in as we are starting the segment, which is entitled Ask Mikey and Mitch. First one up, Nikki the Swamp Dog.
Oh wow, nice.
Little pivot here. So what do you think about Spencer Rattler being named the starter for your New Orleans Saints?
Okay, so I think that I like it because it gives us something to like look forward to on Sunday, because everything else that we've seen the last 2 weeks has been awful. We started off 2-0. You feel like you could have been 4-0. Now you're 2-3. You have a bunch of people hurt. Your starting quarterback's hurt. He started the season off great. And so now you have like, okay, let's see what Spencer. He's talented. He looked good in the preseason. Let's just see. Maybe we found a diamond in the rough, or maybe we found a guy that could do something. Just gives us some hope just to watch it. And maybe after the first 2 possessions, you're on red zone. Who knows?
Not,
You know what I
you're not
honestly-
on red zone. We're changing it to red zone.
You want
that's
to know
what
what
I
I
mean,
feel
yeah.
like? You want to know what I honestly, truly feel like? This is crazy.
Uh-oh.
What if we're watching?
The start of something great?
I mean that would, But what if we're watching the reincarnation of the Tony Romo and Dak Prescott situation? Got highly paid quarterback, star of the team, has been, he's done this thing. Obviously, Derek Carr's not been here for a long time, but he's getting paid very well. He's been paid very nicely, and he's never been a bad quarterback in the league, right? He's getting paid well. He goes out with an injury. You bring in, at that time, Dak was a 4th-round draft pick. He's a 5th-round draft pick. Another SEC quarterback, an overlooked SEC quarterback to another overlooked SEC quarterback. What if?
I
What if
love
he-
that.
What if he comes in and says, "Sir, move over. I'll take this wagon forward." And
That'd
let's
be
keep
great.
rolling with it." What if we're looking at that?
That would be great.
I feel like this got a chance to be something
everything
like that.
talent is
Not an
undeniable,
issue.
right? Like you see it, the talent. And I
You
think
got to remember, brother, he was a highly touted quarterback coming out.
Real
I
dickhead.
could sit here and tell you I've never been some huge Spencer Rattler fan. But he was a highly touted quarterback coming out. The only reason he got supplanted where he was is because the eventual Heisman winner came in and took his spot. And the eventual the guy who was the Heisman winner and #1 overall pick came in and took his spot. Right? That's how he got booted out of the spot at Oklahoma. So with that being the case, you're like, well, damn, what is he going to be right now?
And he won some big games at South Carolina when they probably shouldn't have won them. I think he's matured over
Yes.
the years.
He's changed. He has. He
and
really
so,
has, yeah.
Look, I'm excited to watch him because of all of those things. Go ahead.
I like that. Well, first of all, to continue to be positive before I bring up my next point, I will say he's got the general consensus of the fan base behind him.
Yep.
Like, they want to see him do well because I don't think Derek Carr has that flavor with the Saints fans. He's never really ingratiated himself. He's never really done anything to win them over. Spencer Rattler has done it from jump, where he's wearing the Saints, like, throwback hats, doing all the things, talking about New Orleans the way that they want to be greased up. He's greasing you up. And so he's all over New Orleans, and it's working. And so if he plays well, I think you won't. And Derek Carr's out for 6 to 7 weeks. I don't know if he gets his job back if he plays well. My other point would be putting him behind a makeshift offensive
That's
line
the
as
issue.
a rookie where you could break him immediately.
That is the issue.
I'm
Right?
gonna go ahead and guess, if we had to look back, that line in Dallas probably wasn't all starting 5 that they had started that year when he came in. I know they were really good at that point, but I'm not sure it was like that. And you got to remember too, at that time, Dallas had a really good running back really good running game with a young Zeke at the time. We have a really good running back and a really good running game, although we have some pieces missing up front. What if?
Yeah.
Just what if?
I love that. Optimism.
Do you still, now that, ask Mikie&Mitch from Lloyd, now that it feels like Carr is out for this, I guess, a significant amount of time, is the Devontae Adams thing toast?
No, so I just read about that.
Oh.
I'm glad you said that. I was going to bring that up. Devontae Adams.
They need one more.
Huh?
They need one more.
Derek Carr being hurt and the situation the Saints are in as far as losing the last 3 games, supposedly, from what I am reading from the media, like the actual people who understand what's going on, they say it has not deterred Devontae Adams at all. It has not taken the Saints out of the sweepstakes. And it's from all of the sources and all of the information they have gathered that the Saints are the #1 team on the list. Now, those are all just words, obviously, but that's what they
I
say.
mean, I wouldn't go to the Jets now that they fired their
No,
head
that
coach.
Jets are out.
It's
You know
that's
what's
one more
I
funny?
team.
think, yeah, Jets are out.
I'm about to say, you know what's funny? They keep painting it like a. I think Devontae. They keep painting it like he wants to go play with his friends and he's just trying to like be around his boys. And I personally, when I look at him and I've heard some of the stuff he said. You remember like last year during the year, and they said, "Look, I'm trying to be one of the best all time." And what I think he means by that is like, "Hey, I played with one quarterback for my entire career until I left and went to Oakland, and then when I got to Oakland." The quarterback I played with was a guy that helped me get drafted. So they knew me the best. And I know how they run their systems. I know how they throw their routes. They know how I run my routes. I think he's like, look, I want to go play where I don't have to completely learn a new offense, and I go get to play with dudes who know how I play, as opposed to, yeah, I could be great with Lamar, but how long is it going to take for it to pop?
Right.
How long is it going to take for me to learn that offense, their lingo, how they run plays, how they do this, him to learn my speed, him to learn where to put these balls? How long is that going to take? So I think he wants nothing to do with that, and that's why he's so tied to I want either Aaron or I want Derek Carr. That's me. That's what I think he's doing. Because the guy has already he said it straight up. I don't measure myself in wins and losses. I measure it in greatness. And I know that if I'm being great, there's a very good chance we're winning as well. I think he thinks I want to go play with dudes that I can hit the ground running with.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree.
That's Mikey and Mitch from Kenneth Balala. So, is Chris Hilton going to play this week? I'm just tired of hearing he is and doesn't.
I don't think they've come out and said he is this week. I
have some quotes from Brian Kelly if you'd like to hear from him.
Yeah, let's hear about him.
So, let me pull him up real quick. Everything Brian Kelly said about Chris Hilton. He provided an update on the SEC Teleconference today, and he said, Kelly made it clear that Hilton is doing everything possible to return to the field, but his unusual injury has taken longer to heal. While Kelly's explanation was lengthy, he did not say whether or not Hilton would play this year. Kelly on Chris Hilton being out to this point. Clearly it hasn't affected us. He was a rotational player last year. In year one, he had injuries. This is the first year he's been a missing piece. It's a complicated injury. Let's get the record straight. Chris has done everything he can to get back as quickly as possible. This has been an injury where the healing process has just been slow. He's put in the time, and he has the want to be out there. Shout out Les Miles.
I thought about that too when I said the want to.
The want to. It's been one of those unusual injuries, that's the third time he said that has taken so much longer to heal than normal. We'll get him back out there, and I'm certain he will be a welcome addition to our offense. Sounds like he's not going to play.
So I will say this. People are going to listen to hear that first quote and be like, oh, man, he's just throwing them on. Like he is. No, he's not. He's telling you, just being brutally honest. First year was hurt. Second year, he was a rotational player. He didn't have a spot in the starting lineup. This year he was supposed to, and he's been hurt. So he can't go out there and say all these things that hasn't happened because it hasn't happened.
He hasn't seen it yet.
He hasn't seen it. And so that's just that is the world of sports. He's being brutally honest. And, yeah, I mean, it doesn't sound promising.
So the question is he going to play this year or this week? I forgot.
This week.
Man. I'm going to go against what I've been saying for a long time. I really don't. I mean, if we're still, what was it, 2 weeks ago he was on the field actually running routes and doing stuff pregame?
In USC he was on the field in his jersey.
But 2 weeks ago.
Then he was not.
As recent as 2 weeks ago, he was on the field and running routes and doing stuff pregame. And if we're still talking about this and he's not, practicing like that yet, I guess not. No. Which is baffling because why are you on the field? Why is he on the field doing stuff pregame if he's not able to go when all this is going on? That's the one thing we don't know exactly what this injury is, and obviously, like they said, it's unusual, it's not normal. We don't know, and so I'm at the point now where I don't think that he's playing until you show me that he is.
I do think that, and I said this on Monday because I do feel bad for Chris Hilton, but I think that the way that it was described early on was kind of like they brushed it under the rug a little bit, like bone bruise, fine. And then it continued to get to this point where you're in, week 6? And he hasn't played yet. So it's obviously, I think, more of an injury than was anticipated. I don't think he's trying not to play.
Right, no, he's not. I mean, look.
You would hope not. I mean,
that's what Brian Kelly said. He's done everything he can to get back on the field. It's just been very complicated.
Why don't you talk to your doctor friend? Ask him.
I'll ask him.
Bone bruise. What's that?
Get him on the show and see what he says.
Yeah. Scrub in.
Yeah. All right. Next one.
From Nikki the Swamp Dog. Ask Eminem. Is this the championship window for the Astros? Is the championship window for the Astros now closed? Do you see Breggy coming back next year? No. Yes, closed. Breggy gone.
I think it is. I wouldn't say completely closed, but I am saying that it's closing fast.
Saints window.
A lot of those, championship windows isn't all about talent, right? It's about having the talent and the mix of veteran guys who have been there and all those types of things. And it feels like that has kind of you've gotten past that. And as far as Bregman in free agency, I do not see him back in Houston. He's definitely going to go into free agency and try to see what his value is. And if he wants to be in Houston and he feels like he can continue to win in Houston and they're not giving him too much of a discount, I could see him going back. I just don't see that. I don't think that's going to happen.
Yeah, I don't think Bregman going back is going to happen. I think he's going to look for greener pastures, if you will. But obviously, he had an unbelievable run, a great run there. He's been a part of. I mean, he might eat free in Houston for the rest of his life as long as he really wants to. And as far as for the championship run, I don't think the door's closed, but I think it's peaking open. There's a little bit of light left in it, and it's going to be hard because they don't really, like we talked about earlier. They don't love overpaying in the free agent process, so they're not bringing in a lot of those guys who were young and a part of that window are now aging and are now moving on. So, like you said, it's not always just all about talent, but the right mix of players, chemistry-wise, the guys that are about the right things that want to win, that shit is hard to bottle it up and catch it in one bottle and be able to keep it there. And I think a lot of that's kind of getting out, not like it's for good or for bad. It's just it is what it is. Windows are a window for a reason, and they close and they stay open, and it is what it is. But that's kind of where I think it's at right now.
Hell of a run.
Agreed.
I mean, I think there's no better ending to this than Jose Altuve taking his shoe off and showing the umpire's foot. Like, that's usually how these things go, where if you can kind of bookend this thing, it just might be over.
Well, I mean, I've done that. Not my shoe. I've taken off. I mean, it's like
Took off his sock.
The shoe and sock's a lot, though.
Yeah, that's a lot. That's a lot.
In a baseball uniform, the shoe and sock is a lot.
No, but he had time.
I got hit in the hand. I tried to do that. And
It's just a batting glove, though.
The umpire put his hand up. He goes, "Oh, I can't see it. I can't see it." I was like, I kept trying to go up. And
Give him a little jump, little vert.
And then I grounded out, and then I got tossed,
Dunk on him.
and I got thrown out. Anyway, next.
Ask Eminem from Fonz. He is in here. He said storm's coming. What do you feel? He's
Not here though.
Yeah.
Not here.
No, he's in Florida.
Oh.
What do you feel better
Fonz,
with?
Be safe, man. Just
Yeah.
stay safe. That's
But
tough.
get your questions in. We need you. Ask Eminem. What do you feel better with? LSU's offense being able to move the ball, or LSU's defense getting enough stops?
Oh, it's a good question.
Fonz
Jay,
always
why
brings the heat.
don't you start that one?
I feel better with the offense. I thought coming into the year it might take them a little longer to get going. I was completely wrong. It took the ground game a little longer to get going. But they came in doing what they wanted to do offensively, especially throwing the ball. So Joe Sloan has obviously transitioned into that role of being the OC and the play caller very nicely. Nussmeier has come in and hit the ground running, for being a first-time starting quarterback. The group is really starting to kind of mold itself together a lot better than what we thought it would. I like what they're doing on that side of the ball. I think being able to continue to run the ball, Caden Durham, how he's going to play this game, and what type of role or what kind of capacity he's going to be able to play in this game, I think is huge. But I feel more at peace saying that our offense can score with anybody as opposed to our defense can stop anybody, if that makes any sense. So that's where I'm at.
I'm with you. I have more confidence in the offense. I think for me though, within the offense, I think that you have to establish. I feel, my opinion.
My bones.
You have to, like, the running game is going to be uber important this weekend, and it feels like they found something, and I just hope they can continue to do that.
I will put this next question with this question, dovetail it, if you will. Ask Eminem. Do you think LSU will use a more Kentucky style of offense where you try and eat up most of the play clock, or do we just do us and play the D and pray the D gets a couple of stops?
I think you just do us. You don't try to be anybody else but you. You go through your game plan. Defense goes out and does it. Look, defense is going to make some stops. They're not going to give up 55 points. And if they do, we don't deserve to win. Like, it's not going to be like it was last year. So, I think we just play our offense.
Yeah, I think we play our offense. I do think I think something Joe Sloan might try to do, and I would love to see him do it, is I do think offense love to be in second and third and short, right? And if you can get into those spots, I'll be interested to see, very curious to see how many maybe play action or how many shots we take in those spots, or if we can pop them for another 5 right here on the ground, and our short pass, keep the rock, continue to keep wearing on them and wearing down this defense, wearing down that front, and also keeping their offense off the field. I think sustaining drives, not necessarily saying we got to run it 50 times, But sustaining drives and having those 8 to 10 to 12 play drives where you continue to just work the ball down the field and then get in the end zone that way, I think that's very important in this game because you won't allow that offense to, one, wear out our defense, to two, kind of set the tone and set the pace for the game and how they want to play, and then you put them behind the 8 ball in those situations. So I do think that's important.
And you do that and you score, and then the one time the defense does make a play and it's a 3 and out, or it's a fumble, sack fumble, or a turnover, you do it again. Now you're putting them on their heels and you're putting a demoralizing feeling on their side.
Yeah, like don't get me wrong. Without a doubt, I think every time an offensive coordinator draws up a play, they would love to see it blocked perfectly and we able to hit our head on the goalpost. Doesn't matter where the play's played from. I do think that that's a thing, but realistically, man, if I could draw up this play and I could get 7 on first, and instead of me saying, you know what, let's take this shot and run this, and now we have a 5-play drive or a 3-play drive. You know, we go deep and we maybe get tackled at the 1 and maybe got to run 2 plays and we score. Maybe I just hit me with another little swing pass. Maybe I hit me with an RPO and I get another 7. Maybe I get another 5. Maybe I keep running it up and down the field like that as opposed to trying to take the deep shots simply because I want to keep them off the field in that situation.
Agreed. Lloyd?
I think, like you said, it would be ideal for you drop the first play to Caden Durham that goes 80 yards and it's a touchdown.
You think?
But I'm more interested to see, and I'll raise this question, over under 1.5 fourth down conversion attempts from LSU's offense.
Over.
4th down?
Over.
2.5.
I got him at 2.
Yeah, I think 2's a good number.
I can see him going 2 for 3.
Because that's what, I mean, there's no reason to think otherwise.
Yeah.
This is how he's played, especially in big games where he tries to, I don't think it's so much about controlling the clock. I think he wants to kind of set a mindset of, I don't know if it's we need to score, but I do think that there's a world where he's probably trusting this defense a little bit more, especially if you have Zach Alexander back.
Of course.
You like the over? You like the over in the game?
What is it?
62.
I do.
I think if it hits, LSU probably doesn't win.
See, I don't know if I feel that way either.
I don't. I don't. I already just said I feel like they can score with anybody. I don't feel that way.
I guess it puts it more in doubt in my mind if it's one of those, like if it's, like Fonz was asking, like if you want to do the Kentucky, I don't know if LSU, like I've said this and y'all don't like it, but if LSU can play that style of kind of keep away, it doesn't have to be running the football.
Actually, yeah, I'll run it back because like I said, I don't even think, like I said, keep away is not the term for me, but if they if they do what I just said they were going to do, then no, because it won't hit the over at that point. Yeah, and I do think that that's probably the best way, the most ideal way to win this game. You don't want them necessarily feeling like think about it. They like to go fast. They like to run up and down the field. They like to score fast, and really, honestly, every offense does. But they don't have a big back in the backfield, right? They don't have a big body that's just going to grind you down. So with that being said, their offense is at their best when they're able to move fast and they're able to do it if they do it that way. Well, if we keep their defense on the field for 8 to 9 to 10 plays a drive, you got to imagine that their play calling is going to be inclined to say, I don't want to put my offense back out there in 2 plays. I mean, if we do, we do. We score, we'll figure it out, right? But I can't keep doing that drive in and drive out. That's a disadvantage of how they play.
Dave Matthews.
That's not how they do it. So that's kind of where it's at right there.
Yeah.
It could be. They do.
So give me the under. I lied. I'm taking the under. Which I said I'm taking
I like the under too.
I like the under.
They do have a big back. Caleb Jackson, just got to get him. We need
no. They.
Up. Oh no. They have that defensive lineman.
Yeah, inside the 5. Yeah. He don't play unless they're literally inside the 5.
But you saw LSU try to do kind of that same thing for a second when you had who played fullback. That was a defensive lineman against South Carolina.
I don't remember.
Relaford.
Oh yeah, he did, huh?
Ole Miss is doing it. They're just doing it a different way because they don't have a big back. So whenever they get, Lane Kiffin will do something
Pegasus.
to try to score.
Pegasus.
Yes.
Pegasus.
Fly. Pelican.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Oh.
What?
Off the beaten path. Ask Eminem. Shower in the morning or before bed?
Both. More. Both, definitely both, but I would say more often. As a kid growing up, it was always the night one. As a grown man,
always the morning.
Yeah, the morning's got to be the morning was definitely a thing.
Yeah, always the morning. for sure. If you had to pick one, definitely the morning. But usually both.
Usually both. Like
Lloyd?
For the most part, usually both.
Never.
Lloyd's
You don't
like
shower.
every
You
third
don't
day.
shower, huh?
Lloyd's like every third day. I
Depends
usually
on my
have one
workout
shower.
All
routine.
natural?
Yeah. Me and McConaughey.
He likes the pheromones and everything.
Yeah, it's a natural must.
Oh my goodness.
Boy, the Phillies are 3 outs away from going home.
My buddy just texted me, "You're watching Mets Phillies." Like, no, we put up a wall, so I can't see anything. Put me in jail over here. Ask him and him. Fonz. Coffee or energy drink?
Coffee.
Both, but coffee. Coffee
Yeah.
in the morning.
The energy drink gives me like
Energy drinks. I gotta find it sometime during the middle of the day.
Yeah,
Like,
I'll
I'm never like let me go buy a 2:00 coffee, but coffee's.
I'll see.
every
I'll
morning.
do that.
Nah, I'm not. I'm good.
I'll do a 2:00 energy drink for sure.
See,
Yeah,
but I did energy drinks a lot, and then I've stopped doing them because I didn't really like. I'd rather coffee.
Hate coffee. Love energy drinks.
Love coffee.
Unless it's Irish coffee. Delicious. Ask him and him. Should the Aints fire DA and promote Kubiak before the Jets or others take him?
Promise you. Listen to me. I think the worry right now of getting rid of Kubiak going to get a head coaching job this next year, I think that's kind of been quelled a little bit. I think he's a great coach. I think he's going to continue to get better, but he has to. I mean, he's got to build his reputation in that part of his career, right? He hasn't. He's looked good for a little bit. Hasn't had. I don't think that he's going to get a head coaching job now. As far as firing DA, they're not firing him in the middle of the year. He won't get fired until the end of the year.
Yeah.
If he gets fired.
Yeah, he's at least got this entire year to figure it out. And I honestly feel unless you get like a legit losing record team, I still don't think they fire him after the year. Especially if the offense continues to play better. Now, look, obviously the past couple of games have been what it's been, but you've also had some missing pieces up front. So I think that's got a lot to do with it. But if the offense continues to look better than what they had in the past couple years, I don't see how they. I don't think it happens.
The DNPs on this practice report, not great. Feels like he's everybody.
I mean, that could give him.
Look, we're 5 weeks in at this point too.
No doubt.
They do have the oldest team in the league. I think a lot of that is the little vet love a little bit. Say, hey, you get this first one off. So I wouldn't look too far into it.
Yeah.
But yeah,
they're piling up.
Like I said, at this point in the year, dude, like if pretty much, I feel like everybody's got something. And then if you get to the question, if you finish a game and you're questionable going into next week, that just means you have something dinked up. Probably gonna play. It's a good chance you're gonna.
Tell you what, Edwin Diaz is kind of
lost it.
He walked one, 3-0 on the other one. Now it's 3-1. He puts this guy on base. Tying run comes to the plate.
I'd love to see the Phillies get a win.
Put it on your computer.
Oh well. After I read these questions,
Okay.
Ask him and him. Ask him and him.
Ooh, blocked him.
What is something you still get as a hey, I know you, here's something free? If not, what was your favorite thing from the past? Mike, you just got 2 club tickets, sweet tickets. So probably that.
Give me the question again. Hey, what?
What is something you still get as a hey, I know who you are, here's something free or some sort of, attaboy? If not, if it doesn't happen anymore, what was your favorite thing from the past? Because y'all are famous.
I mean, tickets sometimes. You still get them. But it's not. You have to ask. You have to ask, obviously. I think it was cool sometimes.
Past is a beautiful thing.
Sometimes when we were playing, I think it was cool. Like, and this wasn't like didn't happen all the time, but like if we're at dinner or something, and then you go to pay the bill, like, no, it's been taken care of. Like that's a cool thing. Like, damn.
Oh, for a long time I used to go to if I went to the Reginelli's that used to be on campus, I used to get free food there. That was
NIL.
Yeah.
Wow.
No, this was after.
Suspended.
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 This is definitely after. Don't try to do me like that. This was definitely after I was done.
You're not gonna Terrell Pryor it and
No,
sue the NCAA. Like
it did not happen. I'm not lying. It wasn't until I was done.
Roger Clemens' son, as a plate, Cody Clemens. Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
I don't know if you know the answer to this, but I'll put you on the spot.
Oh, we balled him.
Ask him and him. Miss Jay Johnson's conference. What did he say about his incoming freshman being ranked the #1 class in the country?
I did not see the
But
press
we
conference.
will know.
But I would assume what he said was, "We're excited to have these guys on campus." And
They haven't proven anything yet.
They're super talented, but there's going to be a lot of competition here, and we're excited to see how they compete and try to earn spots.
Yep, that's exactly what the hell I was gonna say. That's what I thought he said too.
Listen, if we got to rely on freshmen to move this class, then I didn't do my job as the head coach the previous 3 years.
But you're gonna have some freshmen that you are gonna rely on,
Of course.
no doubt.
They're gonna rely on just for the hopes. It's not more than like 3, maybe 4.
Yeah, and that'd be great. That'd be an unbelievable freshman class if you get
Yeah, of
around 4
course.
them. Yeah,
Not like this year, obviously.
Right.
Not for their time here.
2-1 right down the
I
dicky
think-
do, and you swung and missed. Go ahead.
Ask him at him. Fonz is rolling. Who was the ump you knew walking to the plate you weren't going to get a shit call? You weren't going to get shit called your way. I feel like you've talked about this man before. Derek gets mentioned a lot.
No.
on the show.
So Derek did toss me for the first time. Cody Clemens just
People
checked
know
out.
who Derek is now in the league because we got him in minor league ball coming
Yeah.
up. He was not in the league. He is in the league now.
Yeah. No, he's.
But Derek's not
he's
the
in
one.
the SEC.
That's what I'm saying. He's
Oh
in-
yeah,
here.
yeah.
What's
I mean,
such a hateable name.
The typical like bad major league umpires. That
The rumors are true for a reason.
yes. I mean those you know.
Jim
Yeah,
Joyce,
I think you knew. You
Yeah,
just-
Jim Joyce, but Jim Joyce wasn't. It was
Cowboy Bill West.
he wasn't a bad umpire. His balls and strikes were good. He just wanted to make everything about him. Right? So he was gonna if you're a rookie or you're a young guy, he was gonna do that kind of stuff. The infamous one that everybody hates is the one that you knew that if you took enough pitches,
Eventually, you're going to get it.
he was gonna call a pitch that was outrageous, and you're like,
Who, Angel?
Angel Hernandez, dude. He would literally, if you just sat there and you took pitches and he didn't throw everything over, he was gonna call 1 or 2 balls that were like, all right, dude, there's no way. You must have just closed your eyes and just forgot to
Keep
pay
the thing
attention.
moving.
Yeah, for sure.
Bapped him up.
Ask him at him.
Oh, is this gonna be Schwarber? Oh my God,
What is he doing?
He better hit a
tag?
bomb.
he did tag, but
He did. He kind of stopped. He I guess he's trying to deke him a little bit. Stay out of all the double plays, I guess.
Well, they
Well,
gotta
there's
go
a
from
two-
first to second,
There's
so
2 outs now, so yeah.
yeah.
Nope.
J. Mitch. Ask him at him. What's a better feeling? Tony toe tap on the sideline? Or crosser, man up, know you're going to get throttled, hold on to the ball for a first down?
Toe tap, man. There's an art to it. I mean,
Yeah.
it just is.
Wow.
I like that. Yeah, like a little
Kyle
toe tap.
Schwarber, 2 outs, top of the 9th. Runners on first and third, 2 outs. His career average or his career numbers against Edwin Diaz: 0 for 9, 7 strikeouts. 2 outs. He's
I
up to
just
plate.
can't get. I can't get
Right
with
now.
the double oven mitt, dude.
I don't understand the double.
I just can't get with it. I can't do it.
I like to have the dexterity of my fingers.
Yeah, I
to
don't
be
like
able to
that.
move around.
I don't like that.
I hope Schwarber hits the Schwarbomb.
Me too. I'm pulling it up, actually.
Well, this would be fun, huh? If he hits a homer here.
Little cutter, slider.
Slide ball.
There you go. Now the force out's gone.
Ask him at him. Squat or bench?
Squat
Squat.
all day. I don't think I've benched since I stopped playing football. I literally don't think I've actually done a
Like barbell
barbell
bench.
bench since football.
I hadn't until I started. I did
Muffin
Muffin.
method.
I'm not doing that anymore. I mean, it was great. It worked. It worked. It was just I didn't want to feel like a linebacker anymore.
Ask him at him. In your 40, quick first step or top speed?
In my what?
In the 40, do you have a quick first step or was your top speed?
Yeah.
You could go in quickly or faster? Later?
So I was a top speed guy, but in the 40, it's all about the first step.
Yeah. It's all about how quickly can you get to top
Yeah.
speed.
Yeah.
I think that's what everybody, when they usually are doing, when you're training for the 40, that's pretty much the part that everybody wants to get better with is the actual start to it. The stride stuff, it's pretty much easier to clean up, but getting starts down is what changes stuff. If you ever get a chance to really see a track sprinter and starts and them coming out of the blocks, the shit is impressive. It is so
Choke 'em out.
it is so ridiculous watching them come out of the
101.
blocks, and that's when you realize okay, that's where real speed is.
Yeah,
'Cause it's different.
there's an art to this.
Yeah, it's different.
Subway Series still alive potentially.
Ask him at him.
Mets move on to the
That would be
NLCS.
crazy.
I know.
Hasn't happened since 9/11.
2000. Or was it no? Was it Subway Series? That was the World Series, right?
Yeah, they set it up. It was obviously made for TV. You get New York in there. Mike Piazza. Derek Jeter.
How about when Mike Piazza had to have a press conference to announce that he was not gay?
God, that happened?
Those are wild times.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He must have. Well, there's a reason he had to do it. It must have been rampant.
Yeah.
So he probably is.
He had to have a press conference. It's crazy. All right, go ahead.
That's the New York media for you.
Yeah.
What he should have done is just had a kid. Hey, look, proved it.
All right, next.
Ask Eminem. Speaking of, hall pass for your wives.
Oh, no.
Who is their celebrity hall pass? Not yours, theirs. Do you know if theirs one?
I don't know. I don't.
I don't think I know.
Ricky Gervais.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I'm sure the majority of them probably want, as of right now, what's the guy on Twisters?
Oh yeah, he's hot in the streets.
Yeah, he's like the popular choice right now.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I do not know. I mean, I haven't given her a hall pass.
No, but I'm sure you can watch TV and be like, and be like,
She has to give me one.
Oh, 1 for 1? Whole movie about it.
All right.
Last one up. Thank you, Fonz. Oh, 2 more. Kenneth Bilala, ask Eminem, if LSU loses, how should I deal with one of my deck crew who is an Ole Miss fan? That's tough.
Throw him overboard.
Yeah. Send him to Tampa.
Ask him if he's got another T-shirt. He can just bring in, let him sport that around the deck. Here you go. I got something for you.
Yeah.
Third. I knew you'd like this. You look good in that color.
You look terrible in blue.
Yeah, you should do something like that.
The last one. Ask Eminem, what's your cheat meal? Hall pass meal.
Meal? I'm more of a sweets guy. I'm not gonna lie to you. I don't really.
I love sweets.
So if I had to say, what am I doing if I'm cheating? It's really not meal because I'm not like
You're
a
grazing?
clean eater, but I'm not like a crazy eater either. So like, I'm definitely probably getting like, what's the name of that cookie spot?
Oh, Insomniac cookies?
Or the other one?
Not Caroline's cookies,
No,
but
the other one. You know the one, pink box.
I don't do cookies.
Why am I
Crumble.
losing? Crumble cookie. Crumble, Insomnia. I still haven't really done Caroline simply
good.
because
It's
it's such a shit show over there every day.
Yeah.
But give me Crumble or Insomnia.
similar to Crumble.
Yeah, I'm probably smacking some of that. That's probably my cheat.
I love sweets too, but if I had to pick a meal, like
Chicken nuggets.
no, I freaking love but it has to be a good one. Like I love a good pizza, like hammer a pizza. That'd be nice.
Damn, that's a cheat meal. Oh boy, yeah, that doesn't constitute as cheat meal in my house.
Oh man.
Dinner. All right.
No sir.
That was Ask Eminem.
That's Ask Eminem. Ask Mikey&Mitch, brought to you by our friends at Mead Heavy Civil. If you've never heard of Mead Heavy Civil, you should. They specialize in land development and infrastructure projects across public works, residential, industrial, and commercial industries, from coastal restoration and large-scale excavations to solar farms and oil and gas pipelines. To oil and gas pipelines, Mead is the powerhouse moving Louisiana forward with complete start-to-finish construction expertise. Visit meadheavycivil.com or give Kiefer Sanders a call at 985-518-6774. Proud sponsors of Mik'd Up. All right, Lloyd. You got a mistake of the day?
I do. For those that are fans of Barstool, there was a Jerry After Dark yesterday that went farther into the dark than many would have imagined. He had to set and pass the NBA record for consecutive so it's the record for threes made in the game, which was 12. He had to do them all in a row. And it took him, give me 1 second. It took him 12 hours.
How many is 12 in a row to make 12 three-pointers in a row?
Yep, he had to sleep on the stream last night, and then he had to call in Mark Titus to come help him. But they got it done.
Hours.
He had 11 with I think they were an hour and 5 minutes in.
Oh, so
He almost did it, and then he never got close again. Slept on the basketball court, woke up, knocked it out this morning.
Wow.
But I feel like,
And they keep the stream live while he's sleeping?
yeah,
That's so creepy.
it is. But it's people are watching him sleep
People are watching him
because
sleep.
they don't know when they're gonna wake him up. Because he does they're like, all right, trying to get if the numbers start going down. They're like, hey, put some content out.
That's wild.
It's a great way to live.
That's crazy.
But how quickly do you think you could do that? Like, there's a chance you do it in like 5 minutes.
Yeah.
It wouldn't take you 12 hours.
To make 12 in a row? No. And you from the same spot?
Yeah, wherever.
Yeah. It wouldn't take me 12 hours.
We can do it.
I'd say I could do it in less than an hour.
I got time. I would love to see you get real frustrated.
We should do it.
If it only takes 30 minutes.
Yeah, we should do it.
When would you walk away if you didn't do it within 30 minutes? So you have to stay.
Oh, I would do it. I mean, I'm not going to be there all night, but I'll do it. Now, the problem with it is the longer you go, the more tired you're going to get.
Oh, he woke
right?
up real sore.
So that, like, your arms going to get tired, your body's, yeah.
Definitely within an hour.
I think so.
That's
Just go to the corner three.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. You would think,
knock it
like,
down.
you would think. Also, little quick curtain call. This Aaron Hernandez show is unbelievable.
Are you still watching it?
I think
just keep seeing
it's
clips.
terrible, right?
It might be the worst show ever
I
made.
saw the Gronk insertion in the clip, and it's like, good God.
It's crazy how bad it is. Like, Bill Belichick pops up, like, what are we doing? But they made that whole show. Like, you got to watch all 12. But I just don't know how you didn't get, like...
How'd you get past the pilot?
Right, and be like, this isn't good.
You know what I mean? Like, is it on the CW?
It's on
It's on
FX.
Hulu. It's on Hulu. It's an FX show.
It's the same people that did, like, the O.J. Simpson one, which is awesome. And this one's as
How
bad.
did that get past the pilot?
I don't know. But it is something that you see, and you can't really, like, I see...
Oh,
Well,
the
you
clip-
can tell there's a ton of money in it, obviously. So I think that's how because they made the whole damn season.
I'll never watch it.
You should watch some of the clips.
I can't. I don't like. It just makes me feel uncomfortable whenever it's like.
I love that.
Yeah. All right, current call brought to you by our friends at Perkins and McKenzie. You got one?
I have a... Oh, let me pull up the video, but my curtain call, I don't think it'll get blocked. Do you see Grimace on the subway for the Mets?
What? Grimace?
The McDonald's purple man?
No.
Oh, man, this is elite action. So he is the man that sparked the Mets rally in the first playoff game where they were down the Pete Alonso home run, and he's been going viral ever since. Since that moment, Grimace is very much celebrated in New York, and he had his coming home party where he books on the subway and is greeted by a ton of Mets fans. And there's the running joke is like, imagine being like not from New York and on the subway be like, what is going on? Because I don't know what this is.
That's awesome.
But Mets fans are fired up for him. So Grimace is their rally cat.
They're in the NLCS. It's working.
So shout out Grimace.
Shout out Grimace. You got one?
Yeah, I mean, mine right now is to. I don't want to mush him, so I'm not gonna do him. But I'll just give it to baseball right now. October is a great month, and it ain't.
Were you about to say
I ain't
another
mushing the one.
team?
I ain't gonna do it. I want to see him keep doing it.
I was gonna do them too, but now
I
you've
want to see
convinced
him
me not
keep
to do
doing
it.
it. So I'm just gonna give it to baseball right now. I know people don't love to watch baseball, but playoff baseball is electric, and it's October, man. This is when it goes down. So like you get the most of it right now. Shit's fun to watch, man. So tune in.
I am going to give my curtain call, stay on the baseball train, to Francisco Lindor. If you haven't paid attention, you obviously know who Francisco Lindor is because when he first came up, he was one of the hottest up-and-coming players in baseball, young, playing in the big leagues at a young age in Cleveland, made all-star teams, was one of the better shortstops in the game, got traded to the Mets, had a down year when he got traded there, but has been nothing short of spectacular. Since then, he has been the leader of that team. He has been through the ups and downs. He's been kind of like the saving grace and the guy in the middle of it to keep the ship afloat. And in 2 straight series, he has or really not too straight, this whole postseason so far, he has come up with big hit after big hit. He's the whole reason they're even in this, the NLCS, because he hit a big home run to win a game in the wild card series, and then he hits the go-ahead grand slam. They end up winning 4-1 today. They're losing 1-0. Hits a grand slam to put them up. Now they're in the NLCS. Mets have been through a lot of shit early in the season. They had a pitcher basically quit on them and said they're a mess. They're a messed up organization. 2 years. Last year they had spent all that money.
It's not looking good for him right now.
Wasn't going to be good, yeah. And now they're back in the NLCS. So shout out to him. Shout out to the Mets.
Here's Grimace. This is what started off. 3-run homer. Man just showed up in the Grimace outfit for the Mets. Been nothing but curtain since.
That's so great.
Baseball.
Also,
shout out Lieutenant Dan. There's a one-legged man that is riding out the storm, and his logic was that he lives on his boat, and he goes, I don't know what...
He is riding out the storm on his boat?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, my God.
And he said, I don't know what the big deal is. He goes, the boat rises with the water for 100 feet up. I'm still 100 feet up. And he goes, it'll flood the land.
Yeah, good's good.
So, shout out Lieutenant Dan. One leg. Can you swim? He goes in circles.
He's going to end up in Cuba.
Yeah, somebody goes, good luck. You're going to be in Texas, buddy.
I mean, wow. Okay, good luck to him.
He'll probably die. We'll find out on Monday.
Jesus.
And it'll be gone and be like, oh, that was a fun story.
Hope he's okay. Hope he doesn't die. All right. That's all we got for you today. We'll be back live. Actually, we're not going to be live on Friday. We're going to have a show tomorrow.
Sausage is made.
We're going to have a show tomorrow. And we'll just promote it tomorrow. Y'all can watch us tomorrow. It's our gambling show. It's worth watching. Because if you haven't heard, we're 4-2 on our three-leg parlays.
And this is free.
We don't charge you for this.
No.
And
a lot of people would.
Join us tomorrow. We'll post the time. We'll have some fun tomorrow. We'll talk a lot of gambling. It'll be a shorter show, about an hour show. Looking forward to having y'all. We love y'all. We appreciate the support. Please like and subscribe to our YouTube channel. If you don't like to watch us, but you love to listen to us, or anywhere you get your pods, we appreciate y'all. We love y'all. We see y'all tomorrow. Peace.